I have an awesome day, everyone. I am Ivy Grace Wajisuyot, teacher of San Antonio Village Elementary School. My topic for today is about Strategic Intervention Materials, or SIM, in Science 6 Mixture. First aims for this session is to identify and answer the parts of the Strategic Intervention Materials, or SIM. Develop SIM in science and or in other learning areas. Third, generate new knowledge on how STEAM can help, and schools could be more positively impact on teaching learning process. It is composed of three parts. First, to discuss is the approve a project proposal. Second, copy of the curriculum material. Third, the summary of the results of its effectiveness. The project proposal of the STEAM, the following are the parts. First is to identify information, project name, project venue, name of proponents, and the project period. For this project proposal, the name of the SIM project is Strategic Intervention Material, or SIM, in improving learners' competence and increasing pupils in mixture for the school year 2019-2020. Venue, San Antonio Village Elementary School, yours truly, and the period was from September 2019 to January 2020. For the rationale, the least concerned competency was identified from the results of the first periodical test for the last 3 years. With this, the remediation on the said competency is needed to help the pupils to better understand the lesson. The target list learned competency for the basics first quarter. First, compare homogeneous from heterogeneous, describe mixture appearance, uniform and non-uniform, define the kinds of mixtures such as solutions, colloids, and suspension, describe the characteristics of solution, colloids, and suspension, enumerate types of colloids and their uses. Next is the project purpose. The purpose of this proposed SIM are as follows. First, provide mastery of the identified list mastered competency. Enhance the effectiveness of learning. Encourage students to appreciate the significance of each topic or lesson when it comes to learning. Project description. The SIM is a module that contains puzzles, games, vivid illustrations, concept map used to motivate and stir up the attention and interest of the pupils. This project is a strategic intervention material, an instructional material that aims to help the pupils to master the list competencies in mixtures for the first quarter. It is composed of the following parts. First is the guide card, which represents the overview of the lesson and the focus skill. Activity card defines the task that learners should undertake to develop the focus skill. Third, assessment card measures the level of mastery of the skill. Fourth, enrichment card extends the learning by providing additional exercises for the further applications of knowledge and skills. For planning action and activities, this strategic intervention material will be implemented upon the approval of the City Schools Division Office of the Antipolo City in the school year 2019 to 2020 for basic pupils of San Antonio Village Elementary School following the timetable that listed below. Okay, the following are the objectives Determine the least master skills competency. Second, plan the activities to be implemented and submit proposal. Third, conduct Slack session on developing the SIM. Implement the remediation activities. Monitor and evaluate the project. Validate the SIM, develop, and submit action plan proposal. For the activities, item analysis, meeting of or if GD, developing the SIM for the 5 unmastered skills, pilot remediation, monitoring and evaluations of the activities, and validations of the SIM, and submission of the proposal. The following resources are the previous test results, project proposal, school supplies, the SIM itself, M&E tool, the pre-post-test result, checklist tools, and the action plan. The time frame from September 2019 to January 2020. The persons involved are the basic science teachers, the proponent, science teachers, selected basic pupils with the basic science teachers, principal, M&E cohort, the PSDS or EPS in science and science teachers, and the proponent. For the project cost, materials can be utilized during the conduct of the project. The following materials, for example, are the bond paper, colored paper, internet surfing folder, and ink for the printer, with a total amount of 1,370. For the expected output or outcome, the grade 6 pupils expected to master the competency skills which they are not able to develop during the classroom teaching with the minimal intervention or guide of teacher for the first quarter, and improve their academic achievement rate. For the copy of the strategic intervention materials or SIM, this teaching learning kit is devised for the benefit of both teachers and pupils. Its goals are to encourage pupils' interest, learn science concepts and skills, and apply learning skills and concepts into real-life situations. Strategic intervention material is believed to be an effective strategic teaching aid for teachers in carry out objectives and list learned lessons. It is a module that contains puzzles, games, vivid illustrations, concept map, used to motivate and stir up the attentions and interest of the pupils. The following are the parts of strategic intervention material. First, cover page, table of contents, learning objectives, guide card, activity card, assessment card, enrichment card, reference card, and the answer keys. For the cover page, must be creative and attractive to the level of pupils being handled. This must contain the school name and address as the heading. The middle part is the eye-catching but the topic-related title of the SIM. Next to the title part is the level of SIM. The level depends on the grade or the year of the students. Lastly, the name or the names of the proponent complete the parts of the cover page. This is the example of the cover page, the heading, school name and the address, then the title, the SIM level, and the name of the proponent. Table of contents. Like a typical book, table of contents is needed to guide pupils of the contents or pages. This include the pages of guide card, activity card, assessment card, enrichment card, reference card, the answer keys. Like this for an example. Another example. For the learning objectives, example, general objectives, at the end of the lesson, 88% of the grade 6 pupils are expected to describe an ecosystem. The subtask, define an ecosystem, identify the components of an ecosystem, and infer the role played by the organism. So for every task, list of objectives are very important. They set the goals of every activity, just like when starting a lesson. SIM needs objectives. Learning objectives give teachers ideas of what to measure at the end of the lesson. This part is composed of the general and the specific objectives or tasks. The following are the examples of the learning objectives. First, to define the kinds of mixtures, solutions, colloids, and suspension. Describe the characteristics of solution, colloids, and suspension. Describe mixture's appearance, homogeneous, uniform, and heterogeneous non-uniform mixture. Comparing homogeneous mixture and heterogeneous mixture. And enumerate types of colloids and their uses. For the learning objective, for example, describing mixture appearance of homogeneous, uniform, and heterogeneous or non-uniform. For the subtask, define mixture, identify homogeneous and heterogeneous mixture, reflect the importance of mixtures in everyday life. For the guide card, this is one of the examples. This part of the sim gives a preview of what the students will learn and presents the focus skills. It also challenges the learners in performing the task. A review of the previous lessons is also presented, and for Capture Guide card, an animated icon may be utilized. Another example of guide card. In these strategic intervention materials, you will investigate the appearance of mixture. A mixture is a combination of two or more substances that are not chemically combined. Substances are put together, but no new substance is formed. In your activity, you will prepare some mixtures. The first mixture you prepared is a combination of sugar and water. The next mixture is a combination of flour and water. And the last mixture is a combination of sandy soil and water. Another example for the activity card. This provides activities that are organized. It is based on the sequence of focus skills. It will also provide examples to concretize the concepts, particularly drawn from a real-life experience. It also provides questions and elicits explanations, not one-word answer. These serve as an easy part activities for the students. Describing mixtures between heterogeneous mixtures and homogeneous mixtures. And another activity is word hand on mixture. For the assessment card, this provides exercises, drills, or activities that allow the students to assess their understanding, what they learn, and correct errors when appropriate. It also monitor their learning and use feedback about their progress. For the enrichment card, this part provides opportunities for pupils to apply what they have learned in other subject areas or new contexts. For example, write 3 examples of uniform mixtures and another 3 examples of non-uniform mixtures. Describe them. For the reference card, it provides lists of resources that will reinforce concepts or skills learn, and provide additional content not found in the textbook. For the answer key, this reveals answers to the given activities. This must be covered so that the pupils will not checking or copying the correct answers. For the third part is the summary of results of its effectiveness. The performance of grade 6 pupils in the mean score from the pre-test and the post-test in the examinations of identified sections from grade 6 Acacia, Tipolo, and Mahogany, covering the 5 common list master skills in science for the last 3 years during the first quarter. The table shows the performance of grade 6 pupils in the mean scores from pre-test and post-test. The table showed that there was an increase in the mean score of the grade 6 pupils in the post-test as they were exposed to the teacher-made strategical intervention material. Hints from the mean of Tipolo, Acacia, and Mahogany from 14.64, 13.54, and 13.97 in the pretest. It had an increase into 26.32, 26 and 25.46 respectively. It is evident that there is 54% increase in their mean scores. This could mean that the pupils have learned the lesson very well with the use of instructional materials and thus have had an increase in the mean score. For the significant difference on the performance of grade 6 pupils and the mean scores from pre-test and post-test in using the same in science. The table shows or revealed that there was an increase in the mean percentage score from the 3 groups of the respondents. It can be gleaned from the table that it was statistically found out that there is a significant difference on the performance of the grade 6 pupils since it obtained the p-value of 0.00 does not exceed at 0.05 level of significance. Thus, the null hypothesis is rejected. The third table shows the comparative test result in science for the last 3 years in mean percentage scores or MPS. It shows that there was a decreasing in the mean percentage scores from the last 3 years with the average of 79.17% to 50.15% in the school year 2019 to 2020. As a result of the current study, there is 54.17% increase in their scores. The Table 4 shows the evaluation and validation of teachers on the strategical intervention material. Generally, the assessment of the teachers was apparently the same in all criteria, which is very much acceptable. For the summary of findings, based on the analysis and interpretation of data, the following findings are hereby summarized. There is an increase in the post-test mean scores of the pupils after exposure to the researcher-made Strategical Intervention Material or SIM in Science 6. This could mean that the pupils' respondents increased the mastery of the identified list competency and learned better and therefore has an improvement on their performance. There is a significant difference on the performance of grade 6 pupils in science in the pre-test and post-test. Thus, the study proved that the teaching with SIM as instructional materials is effective to acquire better learning. The teacher-made instructional materials is very much accepted as assessed and validated by the teachers. What intervention do you use in teaching difficult lessons? Are you going to use SIM as one of your teaching tools? Please share your response later. Growing your well-being is a lifelong pursuit, but it is totally worth it. By Davis. Thank you so much and happy learning, everyone. Goodbye.